Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the video series on the 5 functions of developing a theory of change. This series is produced by the Capacity Building Center for States and funded by the Children's Bureau. This series builds upon the previous change management topic, problem exploration. Remember, developing a theory of change occurs after an agency or team identifies a problem and before it selects a solution. Before starting this series, have you read the Developing a Theory of Change brief and completed the first section of the Developing a Theory of Change workbook? If not, we recommend you take some time to complete these steps and then return here to where you left off. Before we begin, we'd like you to take a few minutes to consider your own experience setting and reaching goals. Reflect on the following questions to stimulate thought on what has worked for you in the past and where you may want to expand your skills. Have you ever set a goal for yourself? Have you ever wanted to achieve a goal, but you didn't know how to get there? What did you do? Have you ever tried to reach a long-term goal without an action plan? What happened? Can you think of a time you successfully reached a goal? What resources helped? Use your Developing a Theory of Change workbook to write down your answers to these questions. Remember, you can pause this video at any time to record your thoughts and refer to them as you complete all 5 videos in the series. Taking a moment to ensure the right supports are in place before developing a theory of change can help teams maintain alignment as they move towards developing and implementing a solution and improving outcomes for children, youth, and families. Before developing a theory of change, your agency or team should have a clearly identified problem, an initial goal or outcome, data and information about the problem, an analysis of the root cause or causes of the problem, and a team with diverse expertise and representation to guide the change and implementation process. If your team has not achieved these milestones yet, take some time to review change and implementation in practice problem exploration. A theory of change is a roadmap that can help teams illustrate how they will bring about change and move from an identified problem to a long-term outcome, where the problem has been addressed and the target population experiences a better outcome. While they both support a team in reaching a desired goal, a theory of change is different than a logic model. We will revisit the purpose and use of logic models later in the change management process. In addition to being a step-by-step plan for improvement, teams can also use a theory of change to achieve buy-in by helping partners and stakeholders get on the same page about what needs to happen to reach their shared goals, to set the groundwork for finding the best approach and selecting the intervention that best meets their needs, to guide strategic planning and decision-making throughout the change process, and to inform evaluation and continuous improvement, including identifying the indicators that can inform evaluation and CQI efforts, monitoring progress to goals, and determining if any adjustments are needed as a solution is implemented. As with other parts of the change management process, agencies should approach developing a theory of change with a sense of flexibility and feasibility. When working to develop a theory of change, teams should consider, is it plausible? Does the team agree that the logic is correct? And does the team have data to support the logic? For example, if we do X and Y, will we get the results we want and expect? Is it doable? Does the team have access to the resources needed to implement the pathway of change? Is it testable? Are there credible ways for the team to explore whether the predicted results occur? And is it meaningful? Do the team members and other stakeholders view the outcomes as important and think that the expected changes are worth the effort? Teams who involve varied agency participants, external partners, and stakeholders to provide input and feedback on a theory of change will help ensure that a theory of change meets the above criteria. The Developing a Theory of Change brief is intended to help child welfare agency leaders, managers, teams, and stakeholders continue the work started in problem exploration and take the best next steps in the change and implementation process. It does this by providing step-by-step guidance to complete a theory of change, or a map of how they will get from the current state to the long-term outcome. Developing a theory of change is broken down into 5 functions or tasks. 1. Gather information on the problem statement, root cause or causes, and target population. 2. Identify a long-term outcome. 3. Develop the pathway or pathways of change, which are also called causal links. 4. Define actions. And 5. Document assumptions and rationale. In this module, we will kick off our conversation about developing a theory of change by looking at number 1. Gather information on the problem statement, root cause or causes, and target population. Before a team can chart their pathway to change, it is important to establish a starting point. The problem statement, root cause, and target population help establish this foundation for a team's theory of change. With this starting point in mind, the team will be able to illustrate a pathway to addressing the problem and identify how the affected population will be helped. Clearly charting this path increases the chance that the team will select the most effective solution. As the team begins the work of developing a theory of change, they must revisit what they discovered during problem exploration. After identifying a problem, teams use the process of problem exploration to determine and confirm the root cause or causes and the target population impacted. These 3 items are foundational to any thoughtful change initiative, knowing what you will solve and whose outcome will improve as a result. Taking time to gather, review, and clarify what is learned in problem exploration helps teams prepare for developing a theory of change. Information sources, including stakeholders, can help teams make sure the following items are in place before they take the next step in putting together a theory of change. A clearly defined problem, root cause or causes, and target population. Data and information that support and describe the defined problem. And stakeholder consensus on the identified problem, root cause or causes, and target population. Teams that work through these considerations are well prepared for moving into the next step in developing a theory of change, which is identify a long-term outcome. Let's check in on the example included in the Developing a Theory of Change brief. To take the first step in developing a theory of change, the team reviews what the stakeholder team discovered through problem exploration. Remember, during problem exploration, a team uses data to identify and validate a problem, how it's impacting the community, and its root causes. The team is able to pull from that information to form the first 2 building blocks for their theory of change. The problem that a high proportion of child protection investigations remain open for longer than the required time, particularly in rural counties, and the target population, which is child protection investigators in rural counties. These 2 pieces create the starting point for a team's pathway to change. Now that the team has gathered information on the problem statement, target population, and has a firm foundation for the theory of change, what might be their next step? The next step is identifying a long-term outcome. Let's take a moment to check in on what you've learned about gather information on the problem statement, root cause or causes, and target population. Why do teams gather information on the problem statement, root cause or causes, and target population? To begin building a theory of change that illustrates the pathway to addressing the problem and the intended outcome. How do teams gather information on the problem statement, root cause or causes, and target population? By revisiting the work of problem exploration, including the identified problem, root cause or causes, and target population. What can help teams gather information on the problem statement, root cause or causes, and target population? Through documenting the initial building blocks of a theory of change and gathering team consensus. Now, take this a step further by reviewing the reflection questions and practice exercise for gathering information on the problem statement, root cause or causes, and target population in your Developing a Theory of Change workbook. Up next is Identify a Long-Term Outcome, the second function in developing a theory of change. We asked you earlier to reflect on your own experience setting and reaching goals. As we talk about the other functions in developing a theory of change, you will learn about the importance of building a strong pathway for change and its connection to a team's setting and reaching goals.